Und ein herzliches Hallo zurück zu Vampyr. In der letzten Folge haben wir es endlich geschafft, die Nazio-Lösung zu finden. Und wir haben einen Händler gefunden, wo wir das nächste Mal kaufen können. Wo wir nicht extra nochmal diese verdammte ähm, Dings da müssen. Leichenhalle, genau. Mir ist der Begriff nicht eingefallen. Und wir sind einer Verschwörung auf der Spur gekommen, die meiner Meinung nach. Hier da hinten. Ah, ja, genau, mit dem muss ich noch reden.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Ich glaube nämlich, dass du, junge Lady, mir was zu verheimlichen hast.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett's in our situation?
To clear Dr. Tippett's name must be the decision of Dr. Swansea. You can't take matters into your own hands.
I respect Dr. Swansea's authority and management, but he's no idea what happens here on a daily basis. I did what I had to do.
Okay,
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
gut. Nummer eins hätte ich dann schon mal ausgefragt. Wo ist denn der Mr. Tippets? Current Tippets zu Behandlungsfehlern. Warte mal, ich muss dieses komische Dings da erstmal loswerden, diesen. Die Markierung. Markierung entfernen, ja. Hallo. Ich will das entfernen. Aha, falscher Knopf. Markierung entfernen. Ja, die ist immer noch nicht weg. So. Ne, das ist die Hauptstory. Die will ich noch nicht weiterführen. Ich will erst noch den Mord aufklären. Warte mal. Tippets. Thomas Elwood. Thelma Hawcroft. Um die kümmere ich mich auch noch. Dorothy Crane. Rakesh O'Dana. Mortimer Goswick. Dorothy Crane. Strickland.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Warte mal. Berichte über Presse.
Have you heard any talk of blackmail going on in the hospital?
If you're running some official inquiry, you had better question the patients. They know more than the staff, especially old Miss Jones.
Okay.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Danke. Ich denke, jetzt habe ich alles, was ich wissen wollte.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Bis auf das. Corcoran Tippett zur Behandlung. Wie heißt du? Bist du der Corcoran Tippett,
Dr.
den ich
Reed,
suche?
may I help you?
Nope, du
I'll
nicht,
see you
danke.
later, Nurse Crane.
Ich bräuchte den Dr. Wie heißt du denn, du? Oh, warte mal. Na, Tippet. Wo ist der Tippet? Wo ist der Tippet? Der muss doch hier irgendwo sein, verdammte Soße. Klar, ich könnte einen Bleistab und Schrauben. Beatrice Goswick.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Ne, der wird
Goodbye
nichts
for now,
finden.
Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Okay, dass so tiefer sie fallen, das hätte ich ja schon gerne mal aufgeklärt, aber ich finde diesen verdammten
Now we can handle this.
Arzt nicht. Das ist das Strickland? Ne, ich brauche den Tippets. Beverly Aykroyd, Rakesh Gordana. Das Strickland muss doch hier irgendwo sein. Nicht der Tippets meine ich. Nicht das Strickland. Der Tippets muss doch hier irgendwo zu finden sein. Das kann es doch nicht geben, dass der nirgends zu finden ist. Jetzt muss ich wirklich mit der Hauptstory weitermachen und das wollte ich eigentlich vermeiden.
It's locked.
Warte mal.
How long must I wait, damn it? Blaming me will not further your agenda, sir. How long does it come to take to fix me properly? A month? A year? You have the right to disapprove of our methods, and you will kindly apologize when you're feeling better. You always knew the words to come. I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Ich würde den Tippets ja gern befreien, wenn ich ihn finden würde. Nee? Das liebe ich ja an Vampyr. Oder Vampyr. Du hast für diesen wahnsinnig ausgeprägten Vampirsinn, der dir eigentlich anzeigt, dass... Wo? Bei John Hampton. Oh, Dings der Stufe 6. Aber du findest die Person nicht. Obwohl du so einen wahnsinnig ausgeprägten Vampirsinn jetzt hast. Der würde willkommen in der Leichenhalle sein, oder? Und es wäre reiner Selbstmord. Was suchst du eigentlich so nah am Krankenhaus? Du Penner. Bisschen Baba oder so? Oh Gott, ey, das nervt.
It's locked, all right.
Ja, war ja klar, dass die verschlossen ist. Aykroyd, nein. Harvey fertig. Darby Crane. Strickland. Jeden verdammten Menschen finde ich hier, außer den Arzt, den ich suche. Schon mal echt belastend. Glasfiole. Hier sind wir die schweren Fälle dann, oder? Die, den niemand vermissen wird. Ah, da habe ich dich ja gefunden. Du
Good
Penner.
evening, sir. So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks, maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either. I can't have expected this hospital to be prepared for what was to come.
Ich will aber nicht schweigen.
Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital?
I have no time for such triviality, my dear colleague. We're here to save lives.
I will cover for you, Dr. Tippett, by keeping what happened to Mr. Connor to myself.
I don't know what to say, actually. I can't exactly force you to become my accomplice.
You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation.
Then I can make you this promise. As soon as the epidemic is eradicated, I will resign.
What will you do after your resignation? Do you have a plan?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus. Such a beautiful island. I could buy a house there, by the sea. Read poetry, and wait for death.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Ich bin damit nicht einverstanden. Jetzt haben wir einen Mörder laufen lassen. Boah, das geht mir auf die Nerven. Na gut, machen wir mit der Hauptstory weiter. Ne, junge Lady?
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
Das könnte man zweiseitig auslegen. Einerseits würde ich mich jetzt ziemlich verarscht vorkommen und würde sagen, das klingt nach einem billigen, sehr, sehr billigen Deal. Oder fast wie eine Erpressung. So, ja, du mach mal das und das und das für mich und ich beantworte dir dann all deine Fragen.
On every street corner. Daily routine.
Sprich mit Harriet im Krankenhaus. Ich weiß noch nicht mal, wo der Mensch ist. Oh! Da.
What? What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
If you continue shouting, I'll have you restrained and gagged. Understood?
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round. Miss Jones, greetings. How do we feel?
Again? Waking a poor old woman in her sleep? There isn't a poor life needs saving somewhere?
Now, I need to ask you a few simple questions.
Well, if you really must.
Have you noticed any suspicious comings or goings?
It would be a great deal easier to make a list of things unsuspicious in this house of charlatans.
Everyone here is very capable. I have not seen any instances of unprofessionalism.
Thieves and murderers, the lot. People have gone missing here, you know. Poof, without a trace.
Come now, Miss Jones. Surely it's not that bad.
Have you no eyes? This hospital accepts all manner of souls, regardless of origin. The proper sick cannot heal. We're kept sickened by the refugees.
If you could just tell me why you were admitted.
It's terrible, Doctor. What with a pain in my chest, coughing up blood, and I get awfully tired. Wouldn't be so bad if I hadn't lost my house and all.
I see.
No one comes to visit, you know. Not even my own flesh and blood.
I'll come and visit you shortly. Good night, Miss Jones.
Gut, von ihr haben wir jetzt einige Infos.
Staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
Willst du von mir gebissen werden? Na komm mit. Ich wollte schon immer in die Hölle. Pippa Hawkins. Ja, perfekt. Let's go.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet Jones. Do not pay attention to her, Doctor. She's full of fanciful tales.
She could have been telling the truth about the mysterious man.
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough. Who cares if a nurse finds some happiness where she can?
No matter how you feel about her, Miss Jones deserves our help.
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old crone alive.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew,
Ach,
Harriet
das hab ich doch
Jones.
schon, okay.
Do not pay attention to her, Doctor.
Okay.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Dorothy Crane, wo bist du? Was zum?
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Ich hab doch gesagt, ich hole mir einen Snack. Ja, ja. Man muss ja bei Kräften bleiben, ne? Und Mahlzeit.
All I wanted was to go back to work, to take care of my children.
Schön. Ich weiß. So. Ich würde sagen, wir machen im nächsten Part weiter mit Böse sein. Ich sage vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.